Hi, I'm Wendy from Shiny Happy World, and in this video I'm going to show you how to transfer detail lines like these legs if they are not on one of the applique pieces. So in most of my patterns, any of these detail lines, they're usually things like smiles or eyebrows or things like that where they are actually on the applique pieces, and that makes it really easy to transfer the lines that you'll need to stitch on. But sometimes, like these dangly mosquito legs, those design lines are on the outside of the body, and those can be a little bit trickier to transfer. So in this video, I'm going to show you a little trick to make that super easy. Okay, on the mosquito pattern, it has, here, let me show you on this. It has some long, dangly, creepy mosquito legs. And you're going to need to do some stitching for those. They are not applique pieces. They are just black lines that will be stitched on your pattern. So this is not the first time I've had lines that you stitch on your pattern. I often have a smile or sometimes eyebrows or eyelashes, but those are always on an applique piece so that you can easily transfer those markings to the applique piece before you do your before you fuse it. And so you've got a really easy, clear guide. I have also done some things that extend off of the pattern, like cat whiskers, but the straight lines start on the applique piece, so you can get those on there, and then you just need to continue a straight line for an inch or so, which you can do without having a marking. These are a little trickier, so I wanted to come up with a way that you could transfer those markings, a really easy way to transfer those markings so that you don't have to eyeball it if you don't feel comfortable eyeballing it. Although you could eyeball it, it's just a straight line with a bend in the middle. But not everybody is comfortable eyeballing. I totally get that. So here is the super, super simple method that I came up with. We're just going to poke some holes in this pattern. So you're going to need a few things. You're going to need your placement guide printed out, where normally you wouldn't need to print that out unless you were using a light box. You're going to need a fine tip Sharpie, and you're going to need something to poke holes with. So I'm going to use this awl because I have it. You definitely do not need to go out and buy an awl just to do that. You can use any kind of a big-ish needle. You could use a chopstick. You could use a knitting needle. Whatever you've got that will poke a hole in a piece of paper is all that you need. So I'm going to poke these through from the back side because I want my extra little fringy edges of fabric to be on the top and not on the back side of my piece. But I can flip it over and I can see those lines. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to poke a hole at the end of each line, at the end of each leg, so where his foot would be if he had feet, at the knee, and where it comes out of his body. And it's okay if you mess up the pattern, the placement guide a little bit. So we're going to do that for all 6 of his legs. His creepy, creepy legs. So you can do the mosquito without these lines, but I'm doing this as a tutorial that you can use for any lines that extend beyond the pattern, at least straight lines. So now we're going to do the knees on this one. And if you shift and poke a hole 1/4 of an inch away from where it is, that is okay. It's not like there's only one way for mosquito legs to grow or one length. If one is a little longer than the others, it really doesn't matter. All right, so I have all the tops where they join the body, I have all 6 knees, and I have all 6 feet. Now, I'm going to transfer those dots to my fabric. So that means I have to get this lined up, sort of, with my mosquito body. So I'm just flipping back and forth, and that looks pretty well lined up. I'm not so worried about the face. I am worried about this part of the body and this part of the body. And they, if I fold this back, you can see they are looking pretty well lined up. Okay, so now I'm going to use my fine tip Sharpie, and I'm just going to poke through each of these holes, and I'm going to make a dot. This is why I wanted the ruffly edges to poke through to the top, because I didn't want them to, I wanted to be able to work my fine tip through them and make sure I'm not just drawing on those. Now I'm going to hold this in place and just look back and make sure I've got all of my dots. Well, I can see these real clearly. I'm going to have to be a little bit more aggressive with my ink on these. Let's see if those are clear. Yes, much better. Okay, and I still need to do a better job up here. Okay, now we are good. So now we're just going to play connect to the dot. And you can do this with your sewing machine if you don't want to draw it on there. I'm going to draw it on here just so you can see, but it would not be hard to drop your needle down at this dot and then just aim for this one without having a line drawn. But I'm going to go ahead and draw our lines. And it's just straight lines. And we're just connecting all of these dots. And we want those lines to go right up to the body because we do want the legs to look like they are growing out of the body. And if they're not perfectly straight, that is okay because mosquito legs are not actually perfectly straight. And if you want to use a ruler, you can use a ruler. It's whatever works best for you and the degree of uncertainty that you are most comfortable with. So there we go. I've got some stitching lines on there now for the legs, so I know exactly where to stitch with my black thread so I can give my mosquito his creepy, creepy legs. I will bring it back after I'm done with the stitching and show you what it looks like. Okay, here is our finished mosquito with those lines all stitched in and looking great. So you can use this same method for any exterior design line. So if you want to use it to extend the whiskers on your cats or on your seal or any pattern where any of these design lines go on the outside of any of these applique pieces, use this method. I'm Wendy from Shiny Happy World, and I will see you next time.